Let's go ahead and start with the basics for keyboard input and moving the cube around the scene. Going over to your Project tab, down to your Code Files folder, right-click on the folder, do Create, C# script. This one we're just going to call this Mover. Remember, capital M, push Enter when you're done with the name. It's going to build it down there bottom right. Your file will show complete. You can double-click on Mover to open it up inside of Visual Studios. Once it opens it up, we now have our basic code. We can delete the body of it at the moment because we don't need that. We're going to rewrite things from scratch, so whenever you get a file that has stuff that's inside of it, simply just open it up and clear out in between the two curlicue brackets of the class. Alright, when it comes to looking at how do we move an object inside the scene, first thing we want to do is use a method that's from Unity called update. Yes, we did just have this one, but rewriting it, putting it to memory, making sure that you're used to and comfortable with writing it is important. The update is going to be what is constantly being checked. So it's going to be looping. This is, again, what we look at as our loop, our main loop. Looking for any type of key impress, remember, is going to be using a conditional. So for instance, we would say if a key press is going to happen, do something if it's true. The key press we're looking for Unity input is what we're looking for. All input for the for Unity is going to be found inside of here. If on top of this, if I just push F12 on my keyboard, or we right click and we go down to go to definition, what this is going to do is open up Unity's class so that we can see all the options that are available to us on the code side. So notice very quickly I can get to axis, button, key, the mouse, the touch, joystick. So all of these come with a little bit of extra information, summary, and parameters. So for instance, if I wanted to say I want to do the get key down, I could go over here and it says returns true during the frame the user starts pressing the key identified, meaning that it only happens once. If I look at the one that's this one, the get key, it says returns true while the user holds the down key. Alright, so this sounds like something we want to use. Now if we need more information on it, remember this is only direct programming inside of there that we can access. We can go to our script, and we could just go from the script to the little book right there and click on it. And once it opens up, if it opens up, it may find or not find. That's fine. We're going to go to our scripting API, and we could type in the word input. So remember, as on the code side, you're always going to go to your scripting API for your information. So we know that we did the input, and then we were looking for what it was, which was key down and just key. So we go down to here and we see the get key. We click on it. So it's going to give us that description, but it's also going to give us more information. So the more information is, which is really great, is going to say how do you implement it. So it's going to give you an example of showing you things that get implemented right there. As well as if you keep scrolling down, you'll get even more information on the additional ones. So for instance, a key code right here, and up here is a string for the key. So there's an overload method available in a sense, is that you can use both of those for it. Alright, so if we go back to our code again, we could say input dot get key, and then when we open it, it says we can use the key code, and then dot, and this is going to be what key do we want to use. So we'll say we want to move an object, so let's go ahead and just say it's going to be, we'll start with W to move forward, and then close the parentheses. And then inside of here, we're just going to do a debug.log, and then we'll say pressed key W. Now if we were going to move it, so let's go ahead and save this first. Let's go back to Unity and test that our key works. We should see inside the console when we push W that the thing would work. Now if it doesn't work, remember something to take note of is that we made the script right here, but we didn't add it inside of our scene. And this is like oftentimes you'll find yourself doing this, and then you have to remember that, wait, does my cube have my script on there? Let's see. Nope, it's not on there. That means that I need to go and drag and drop the mover script here, and or add component, type in mover so you can add it from there. So now we have our mover script on here. When we push play, we can push W, and now you notice W actually gets updated when you hold it down. So then from there, we'll go ahead and set up one more part right here. We know this works, which is great, so we don't need this. You can use it only when you need it, and or you could leave it until your code's complete and then remove the debug. From here, we want to actually move the object. So the object we have, we want to move it in a position. So if I was going back to the code, the API side, and I wanted to move it, translate it, some form of moving the position, if we type in translate, then what do we get for this? We have the transform, which is part of our component, and then we have it says translate, moves the transform in a direction and distance. So here, if we go to this one, this actually gives us code examples again, showing how to use the translate, and then it also gives us another example of using it this way. So great set of examples. It gives us a good understanding of what we can do with it. Let's take the basic elements of this, and we're going to go in here and say transform.translate. And then our parameters, notice we have 6 overloads. So we can do it with just x, y, z. We can place in a vector 3. And then we can also do a relative to, whether it was self or world. So here we could just say, if we're going to move it forward, we could say that forward. So if you go back to Unity, which direction is forward? Or which direction do you want to make forward? Looks like z would be forward, x would be left and right. So here, we'll say that this will be 0, 0, and then we'll do speed. And the speed is going to be a public variable. We'll do float speed equals 5. And then let's finish off our transform translate. So this means that we're going to hit a speed of 5 when we push the key down to translate. So let's go ahead and check it out for a moment here. So we should have our mover script get updated with speed. Now when we have a speed of 5 and you move, what should happen is it goes really, really quick. It's already gone. Where if you look at your Z axis up here on the inspector, you're going at super fast speed. So we don't want to change, we don't want to adjust our speed here. What we want to do is actually calculate the speed correctly against time. So we're going to say speed times time.delta time. And what delta time is going to do is accurately give us an update every frame. And that's way, no matter what your speed is for on one computer, it works correctly on another computer. So now we have this, and we can push W, and now it moves nice and smooth. All right. So that's going to be our first step into working with the keyboard.